You guys are all beautifully on time. Thank you so much. My name is Raphael. I do past life regression hypnosis, which is a form of quantum healing. Is anybody familiar with past life regression or quantum hypnosis? Yeah? Nice. Have you done a regression in the past? Oh, awesome. Beautiful. And you?
I know about it, but I never had a chance to do it.
Beautiful.
So I found this one like take my shot.
Yeah, awesome. So, past life regression, I'll give you a little bit of an education about what it is before we dive into the experience of it. Past life regression hypnosis is a form of healing. Healing is usually something we do when we're bringing up feelings, emotions, thoughts that we've been holding on to for a lifetime, for half a lifetime, for many lifetimes, that we don't always know is there in our kind of conscious state of being, because we might have repressed the feelings that we didn't want to deal with at the time because they were too overwhelming. And so through the act of healing, those feelings and emotions and thoughts and images bubble to the surface so that we can feel them and let them go, so they don't rule our lives anymore in ways that we're not consciously aware of. So that might come through as like a toxic trait that we might have, a trait that is undesirable, like anxiety or fear, or maybe even a physical ailment like chronic fatigue or headaches, or even things like cancer or allergies. Our bodies really want to and are capable of being the healing temples that they are, to heal everything and be in perfect harmony always. But when we need to allow those feelings to move through us, and emotions and thoughts, and not hold on to them and not repress them and stuff them down. So when we do that, which is a pretty normal human thing to do, it ends up showing up in our lives in some ways that we're not consciously aware of, and usually in a way that we don't usually desire, like something we want to let go of. So through the act of healing, we let go of all of those things so that we can become our most authentic selves, beautiful selves, loving selves that can walk around in confidence and fearlessness and in our own truth, in our own beauty, in our own glory. And then we can share that with others. I think that's what we all desire, is to have that life force energy inside of us, so that life becomes easy and pleasurable and fun and interesting, and not painful and full of suffering, or these anxieties or fears or health conditions. So through past life regression, this is a modality for healing. And I always want to bring that up in the beginning to let the audience know that there's a potential that something might arise here that might feel overwhelming, that you might not have looked at in a while, or might not have understood or felt. And if you don't want to do that right now, you don't have to. It's okay to not deal with those things right now, or ever. You're perfect as you are, even with all your traumas and all your faults. You're all perfectly on your path. But I just like to preface that and let you guys know ahead of time that this is a place that might come up, not necessarily, but this healing work is called quantum healing because we can kind of do a lot in a short period of time, which is a real beauty in it, where we can answer all of our own life's questions about our purpose, our relationships, our health, the universe. Why are we here? Why am I here? And so really, I found to be a really incredible practice for that. So that was my warning, fair warning. just in case it becomes emotional for you. And you don't have to be here to do that. So I assume that you're all volunteering to be here and you're open to that being a potentiality. Beautiful. I'm going to pass you a notebook for the workshop. You can choose a color, orange, and you can choose a pen. So we're just here talking about healing, quantum hypnosis, and past life regression. And we're going to go on a journey during this workshop into a past life. If we have time, we can do a couple other journeys. I've been trying to condense this workshop to 1 hour because people want to be out doing other things. But this is usually like a 2-hour workshop for me, and I try not to rush it. So we'll start with one, which I've found. I've done 2 others so far on the playa, that we can at least tap into a past life journey. If we have time, the bonus journeys are meeting a spirit guide and also seeing a future life. So we'll see if time provides that, if you all want to stay around for that. You're welcome to leave at any time. So a little bit more about past life regression and its effects on quantum healing and why it's so powerful is that through a deep hypnosis guided meditation process, it just works the way it works. I've been trained to follow a perfect script to get people to kind of drop off exactly where they're supposed to be dropped off, which is a deep trance state. It's called the theta brainwave state. And in our theta brainwave state, we can access our subconscious more easily. This is the state of our mind that we're in when we're first waking up in the morning. So it's a very natural state. And also right before you fall asleep at night, we're in a theta brainwave state. That's why I say these are good times to practice your prayers, your intentions, your gratitude. You might say your prayers before you go to sleep at night, because we're getting into that mode where we're calling in the things that we like to keep our subconscious tied to the universe in a way that we desire, not in a way that we felt at 2 p.m. that day when we were moving through work and dealing with all sorts of things and rushing from A to B. Usually our mind is not in the optimal state to be programming ourselves because we're dealing with life in those hours. And that's when our kind of left brain really takes over, which is our practical, analytical, pragmatic, almost defensive brain. It keeps us like safe. We're accessing our right brain here, which is more of the creative, the imaginative, the intuitive, and it's where more of the miracles of life really fall forward, and it's where the ease and grace of life exists, where life doesn't have to seem so challenging to get to A to B. We could just flow there naturally and let things come to us. We might experience some of that out here on Playa when we let go of control and see the serendipity, the synchronicity of how things start to unfold when we're not trying to control so much. So that's part of the beauty of this, and the beauty of theta brainwave and kind of getting out of the control side of life and into the ease, grace, and intuitive side of life. So a reason why past life regression is a really powerful way of doing that is that when you get dropped off, I say dropped off because part of my one-on-one sessions is I take you on this cloud journey, and then we come down off of the cloud. And when you come down off of the cloud, you're awakened to this new body, essentially, and in a new place. And I have a conversation with my clients about where they are. And we have an open dialogue when they're in this deep hypnotic state, and they tell me what they're experiencing. And we move through that entire life, whichever life it is. Sometimes it's the life of your current life, maybe your childhood or something else. Or maybe it could be a life that's more interdimensional on another planet. It's really, past life is just a way to put it in a box, but it could be anything. So whatever comes forward for you is your subconscious communicating with you exactly what you need to know to help you in your current life. we're all here focused on our current lives, and we're accessing this other dimension, so to speak, to really help us in our current lives, because that's what matters the most. And whatever shows up as our past life is symbolism and a message for us to take forward, because it's guiding us to what we need to know to really heal and access all the things in life that we desire, and get all the stuff out of the way that we do not desire. And so through that process, we walk through the entire past life until the day that the past life person dies, and then they see themselves die. And on the other side of death is you're out of your body, you're out of your ego, you're out of your personality, and you can reflect on your entire life from a much different perspective than you can in your current body, which holds on to attachment to itself, and it wants to be right all the time, and it wants to really be in that left brain defensive ego. And then you die, and your whole life, like they say when you have near-death experience, your whole life flashes before your eyes. You really see it all for what it truly was. And so on that side, there's no fear anymore. You're dead. We're all just kind of scared to death to live. And once you're dead, you don't have to be scared to death anymore, because you're already dead, so to speak. Your body's dead, your personality, your ego. And so you get a really beautiful perspective of life. And if you have the opportunity to now bring that information back into your current life, you don't need to die to get that data. You can bring that and integrate that back into your life now. And so this is a really unique way to do that. It's kind of like plant medicine, if anyone has ever done that. Psilocybin, ayahuasca, these are all medicines that get us out of our bodies, get us out of our ego. They call it an ego death, because they show us through a lens that's not through our ego, and we get to see ourselves in our life and our choices and our habits exactly for how they are. And through that, there's deep healing, because we can let go of the things that are not serving us and call in the things that we desire more, which is usually love and a deep sense of self-love as well. And when we're deeply in a state of self-love, our bodies, our minds, our lives are easy, they're graceful, we're open to everything. And when we're open to everything, we kind of are not in fear of anything. And then we can kind of truly activate our voice, our purpose, our relationships in really beautiful ways. So I'm going to pause there for a second and see if there's any questions that you might have had coming in. Say that again?
Did you see the movie Defending Your Life?
Oh, I have not.
Shirley MacLaine is there. There's a past life pavilion, and they see all the past lives.
Beautiful. I'll have to watch that, yeah. So there's many different modalities for past life regression. The one that I practice is based on a method designed by Dolores Cannon, if any of you have heard of her. She was a pioneer in past life regression. She started through a hypnosis practice that was just designed to help people quit smoking and lose weight and mute bad habits.
I might have her tapes. A couple of my mom's tapes.
Yeah, they're incredible tapes. And so over her 40-year career of really discovering past life regression by chance, it wasn't on purpose, it was on accident, where one of her clients in a deep state of hypnosis started talking about things that seemed like another life. And she became interested and started to really explore it. And through her exploration, she designed this specific modality called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And then she started training other people to do it. And so I went through her training process, and I follow her rubric word for word, really. And she's written about 20 books about her experience with her clients, which in deep states of regression were accessing lives that were connected to historical events in our lifetimes, or maybe in our human species lifetimes, or even the beginning of the universe. It's called like the Akashic records, the records of everything. So the beginning of time, stories about Jesus and the Essenes, stories about Atlantis, stories about Nostradamus. All these mythical stories were coming through her clients, and repeatedly, and through multiple different pinpoints. And I like to describe her clients as people like, I call them Joe the Plumber. Joe the Plumber has ever only known plumbing his entire life. It's the only thing he's ever studied, the only thing he's ever done. But somehow in this deep trance state, he connected to a life that could see the times of Jesus or the times of Nostradamus and have conversations and explore. And through her investigation and many, many, many hours working with many different clients, accumulated a wealth of knowledge of all these different historic, mythical kind of things that we call religion or myth, like Atlantis, but that are seemingly in the history books of the universe, in the Akashic. And for me, that became a moment where I was like, wow, this is too fascinating not to explore more. And almost, to me, I called it like seeing like the burning bush in your very own eyes, the burning bush that talked to Moses, or God speaking through something. God was like speaking through these clients and bringing forward information that was serving the client and serving whoever else was there to hear it, so humanity. And during these deep trance states, we audio record everything so that the client does not need to remember what's happening in this deep hypnotic state. They can go back and re-listen to everything that happened and hear the messages and hear the symbolism that came forward for them in those moments. And that's again where more of the healing is. So we'll pass some books to the folks in the back that just came through. If you just pass these around. And do you guys have pens as well? Pass these back. Thank you for joining us. And so through this process, we learn to use our senses in ways that aren't really physical in the 3D world, but they're more internal. So we can feel, we can touch, we can smell, we can taste, we can hear. We're all seeing right now, we're all listening right now. But we can all also do that through our mind's eye. And when I say through our mind's eye, it's almost through that imaginative state, through our third eye. It's kind of seeing without seeing, hearing without hearing, tasting, feeling, touching without actually physically doing that. And these are all just kind of nerve endings that we have that are communicating to our brain to send us a signal to say, this is what you're seeing through your eyes. This might not be what reality looks like at all. It's just what our brain is computing as information coming in. And so when we close our eyes, we can also learn to see without seeing, and hear without hearing, and feel without feeling. And these are kind of superpowers that we have. You might call them like clairvoyance. People that are clairvoyant can see things before they actually appear. People that are clairaudient can hear things through their mind's eye, through their connection to the universe, really. People that are clairsentient feel things without feeling them. So we all have different kind of superpowers in this way, and some of us have them in ways that are stronger than others. Some of us maybe have never really felt a sense of this ever, but they're all muscles that we all have, and we just are not as adept, or we haven't trained them or worked them out yet. So we're going to be here and work out these muscles a little bit here, and I'm going to take you through some trial runs here to show you how easy it is to see with your mind's eye. And seeing could be something that you actually visualize. Seeing could be something that you're just thinking, and bringing that information forward through thought. That's claircognizant. And I feel like I'm more claircognizant than any of the other clairs. I can see with my thoughts. Some people can see with their hearing, see with their vision, clairvoyance. So whatever works for you, and you don't have to judge it, whatever it is. Know that it likely is a muscle that you might not have worked out a lot in the past. And that's why we're here to train it and activate it and get into that right brain, really, where life becomes easier, the messages become easier, the symbolisms become easier to guide us in life so that we can have this connection to our higher selves. You know, our higher selves always knows what's right for us. It's usually us that gets in the way. We want to self-sabotage in many ways for whatever reason, but we're here to learn lessons, and the way we learn lessons is usually through self-sabotage until it becomes so painful that we're like, oh, I need to learn that lesson now. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I'm done with these relationships that are not serving me anymore. I'm done with my relationship to money in a way that's not serving me anymore. I'm done with my relationship to my work in a way that's not serving me anymore. And when we connect to our higher selves, it always has the truth. It always knows what our souls really deep down desire. You all ended up here at Burning Man, so you obviously listened to something that guided you somewhere that said, hey, I really want to be somewhere where I'm going to get activated and I'm going to be open to feeling more, seeing more, expressing more of myself. Not what the default world wants me to do, not what my parents told me to do, not what the school told me to do, not what the government told me to do, not what my friends told me to do. Nobody outside of here told me to be who I am. Only I can do that. And so we're here to really deeply connect with who we are on the inside. So let's do a little practicing. I'm going to ask y'all to get relaxed. You don't have to lie down. You can sit. However you want to participate is perfect for you. And we're going to practice visualizing to show you how easy it is. And try not to judge whatever happens. Just let the first thing that comes forward for you come forward and go with that. Don't resist it. So I want you to close your eyes and just relax. I'm going to ask you to see something. Just go with it, and when you see these things, I want you to try to put action into it. Not only see the picture, but hear something. Try to hear what is going on. Put sound in it. Put activity in it. Also try to bring in smells if you can. We want to get all of your senses activated. Try to see if you can smell, if you can hear, and if you can see, and fill the scene full of details. Okay, just relax, eyes closed, and let the pictures come. Beautiful job, everybody. Is everybody able to see themselves eating a meal? Anybody able to smell or taste or see anything interesting? What types of foods were you eating? What was it? Mediterranean. And can you taste or smell any of it? You can see it. Beautiful. Perfect. Any other interesting foods? Persian food.
I could feel the taste, and I could feel the temperature of the food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You feel the heat or the cold. These are, what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Heat, because it was like both.
Yeah. So you can see now how you can activate these senses of sight, smell, taste, without actually having to see them or taste them or feel them. They're all in us, all these memories, all the access to our senses. Beautiful job, everybody. So I'd like to share an allegory or a story that Dolores Cannon would share about one of her group workshops that she used to do. And she would do them the very same way. And in one of her workshops, she had a blind woman come in, and she was blind since birth, never been able to see in her life. And she didn't believe that she would be able to see anything. And the woman in the room piped up and said, well, actually, my favorite color is blue. Like, how do you know what blue looks like? She said, well, I remember from a past life. And during that session, the woman that was there with blindness set her intention for that session to understand why she was born with blindness. That was one of her questions for life. And through the practice and in her past life, what came up was that she was a medieval ruler at one point in time, and she would torture her people by gouging their eyes out. And so now this was her karma in this new lifetime, to live without sight, because she was taking sight away from the people in the village that she had lived in once upon a time in a past life. And so we get to see kind of the karmic story of our soul too, why we're here experiencing what we're experiencing. Why was I born with blindness? This doesn't make sense. But if in a past life you took on the karma of taking someone else's life away or sight away, you might be born without sight now in this life to repay that karma. We've all kind of noticed in our lives, if we've done something where we felt we were going to receive negative karma, how quickly that karma kind of comes back to us. And this is the same thing that might be happening through lifetimes. And if we don't know what that is, we can't heal it. And so a way to do that, if we cannot pinpoint any other way in this lifetime, is look into past lives. But the point of the story is also about intention setting. And what are we all here doing? What is our intention for being here? For being here in this workshop, for being here at Burning Man, or for just being here in life? So before we dive into the past life journey, I want us all to take 30 seconds to go inward and see what is the intention that I'm calling forward for either this workshop or for Burning Man or for life in general. And I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to anchor into what that is and hold it in your heart space. Okay, beautiful job setting your intentions, everybody. I want you to know, if you have a question in your intention that you feel is not coming to you immediately, that you're not getting the answers to what you're asking for immediately, we're opening up a 3-day window here through this practice of accessing our higher selves, of communicating with our subconscious. And the answer to the question might come very well now during this journey, or it might come later in the day, or it might come in a dream later at night, or in the next couple of days. And if you want, before you go to sleep at night, you can continue asking yourself questions about what you'd like to get answers to about in life, and see how your higher self and your subconscious tries to communicate that to you, either through your dreams or through the things that happen in your life over the next few days. Okay, we all ready? Beautiful. So we can relax again. Take a deep breath. Anchor into your intention. This is going to be a simple, light level, because I want you to be conscious enough to write down what you see after we come out of it. The deep levels, you wouldn't be able to do this as well. So this is just visualization, and that's all it is. Trust whatever comes in. Don't judge it. Whatever the first thing that comes forward for you is perfect. Just go with that. Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Sometimes that's exactly what the body needs. The subconscious is giving you this opportunity to rest. But you were also here, your subconscious was also open to the field of listening. And so you might still get the messages later today. You might recall things in your dreams tonight and continue to ask yourself questions like, what did I experience even though I was asleep? Because the magic still works for you whether you're sleeping or not. Yeah, exactly, because you were here with us. So that's cool. Yeah, you were in a really deep state, you know? You were in a very deep trance, which is why you don't remember it. But it might come forward for you, and you might feel the effects of healing regardless of remembering it or not, because you went through that experience, even though you don't remember it. So yeah, continue to dive into that. Yeah, perfect. Anyone else want to share, ask questions?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was visualizing
It's a tough word, visualizing.
The path in my bedroom that went down the stairs and then the hallway. And after I got out of the hallway, it went dark at first.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't like the way I was visualizing. It wasn't like that. Visualizing. It kind of came to me as like a thought that I was in like a palace, but I don't know if my mind was making that up or if that was something I was remembering.
Right.
But it just came to me, and then before my death, I saw myself like as an old person on a bed, and very briefly, that's it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just don't know if my mind was making that up or if I was remembering. It was hard to.
So this is like weird. This is a typical thing when people come out of this. They said, "Did I just make that whole thing up, right? Or did that actually happen?" It doesn't really matter because that's the thought or the thing that you saw that came forward for you. So it's communicating to you something, you know. And so you dive into that instead of questioning, "Was I just making that up?" That's your ego trying to challenge everything and say that couldn't have been true, or instead of being open to the magic of whatever was happening, saying, okay, how does that serve me? How is that thought of the palace serving me? How is the thought of that old man dying serving me? What is it trying to communicate to me? You know, so the more we lean into it and the less we question it, actually the more it makes sense and the more details fill in around it. Because sometimes we have some resistance to allowing that information to come forward, and it's just a practice, really. So you did perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you might find more insight as the day goes on, or as your dreams come forward maybe later tonight, or you might notice something, because the subconscious is always here with us. Even right now, the subconscious is communicating to us. You're all here because you subconsciously wanted to be here to get this information. And so it's working right now just as much as it is in our dream state or in the trance hypnotic state. Awesome. Any other shares? Yeah. Right. Wow. And were there emotions and feelings that were connected to that experience? Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And so you might continue to ask yourself these questions like, why was I shown this? What is that trying to teach me for my lifetime now? You know, it's a symbolism and message coming forward for you to guide you in your current life. You know, so how does that experience reflect what you're experiencing now in your current life? And what messages can you bring forward from that to help guide your decision making going forward to live the life that you want to live now? Does that make sense? Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect. Sometimes, like I said, it's not a standard past life. Sometimes it's more like interplanetary or dimensional or even our current lives. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Any other shares or questions? Yeah. Incompletion? Sorrow? Yeah. 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 Beautiful, yeah. And so sometimes these are emotions and feelings too that help communicate with us what we need to be feeling to help activate us in our current life. That's where some of the healing comes in, and awareness. Beautiful, beautiful. Keep asking yourself the questions. Why did I see that? What is it trying to show me? What is it trying to teach me? And we can do that in all of our kind of waking life experiences, whether it's a conversation we have with somebody that went sour, you know, like how that didn't go how I wanted it to go. What is that trying to teach me? Not trying to dive into that person was so awful or I was so awful, but what can I learn from that experience about myself and about life and carry that forward to continue to evolve our soul and our being to be the best selves that we can be. Awesome. Well, it's been about an hour. We can do another journey if everybody wants to, but I like to give you guys that option. The second journey is to meet a spirit guide. Do people want to stick around for another journey? Or are you guys feeling complete? Up to the group consensus. Show of hands, who wants another journey? Yeah, we got more for another journey. Let's do it. Yeah. We'll meet our spirit guides. Yeah, if you don't want to stay for the second journey, you're free to go. You are never captive to begin with. Thank you. And for those that want to stay, we'll go on a journey to meet our spirit guides. So we can drop right back in and we'll talk a little bit about what that means. Our spirit guides are always here with us. There are angels or there are totems, there are higher selves. They're here to help aid us in life. And sometimes they like to be communicated with. They often like to be communicated with. When we're not communicating with them, they can't help us. And so by building a relationship with them, we can activate our relationship with them. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, relax, and let the images come once again. Whatever you see, no matter how strange it is or how crazy it looks, that's yours and it's personal to you. So when it's over with, I want you to write down what you see. This one is short. It's not as long as the other one. Close your eyes again and relax. So usually these guides can come forward in many different shapes or sizes. Usually they have very interesting names. I'm curious if anyone wants to share what their guide looked like or the name or message that came forward. A geometric form? Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. The one that came forward for me when I did this to myself was a baby giraffe. I had a baby giraffe that had its head in my lap, and my hand was in its mouth, and it was like gumming my hands. His name was Baby G. Yeah. Anyone else see anything interesting or? Yeah. Oh. Wow. So incredible. A box full of puppy dogs. Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Any other interesting shares? Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, there's some common themes. Sometimes old wise men, sometimes monks, sometimes Native Americans, sometimes animals. They come in any shape or size. Sometimes fictional characters or just energy or geometric shapes. They're all really just energy, but sometimes they want to communicate with us in ways that are interesting for us to relate to them. So you can know that your guides are always there with you and you can communicate with them, and they have messages and guidance for you to assist you in your life. So beautiful work, everybody. Thank you for participating. Thank you for playing. Thank you for being open. Know that you can always talk to your higher self. A good time to do that is at night before you go to sleep, and wait for the messages to come to you. And know that life is always happening for you and not to you. And to look at every circumstance as a way to say, what is this trying to teach me? Not why am I a victim to this, but what is it trying to help me with? Even if it seems painful or undesirable, it's really just a lesson that's here for us to learn. And the quicker we learn the lesson, the quicker we will not repeat the same kind of things over and over again, and we can liberate ourselves from that pain or that suffering, and our bodies can heal themselves, our minds can heal themselves, and we can free ourselves to really live the lives that we want and program ourselves into the programs that we want to be running, which is love, abundance, positivity, fearlessness, joy, happiness, connection, community, family. And remember that we can disconnect from any programs that we do not want to be running anymore. We do not have to run the fear program. That was ingrained in us. Somebody taught us that. It is not who we are. We don't have to run the scarcity program. There's no scarcity. We live in an abundant world that's full of love, that's full of resources. You can create the world that you want to live in by being conscious of the programs that you're running and conscious of the programs you're opening yourselves up to. So be aware of the content that you're subjugating yourself to, because it seeps into your subconscious. You don't even realize that you're running these programs that aren't you, and know that you can set up energetic boundaries to them and not accept them any longer, and decide on the programs that you would like to run. So fantastic work, everybody. If you want to stay in touch, my name is Raphael Feldman. You can find my website. It's myname.com, raphaelfeldman.com. And if you have any questions, we'd love to answer any more. And thank you deeply. Yeah.